Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time. Welcome back to Knicks and Bruises. Man, it's been a couple of weeks since I did a Knicks and Bruises show.
Couple weeks.
I've been working on this series, this one-on-one series, and but I'm back, man. FIBA's over. We're gonna talk about that, break that down a little bit. What's good, Sim, man? Welcome back.
Good, man.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it. I'm good. I'm glad, we finally got something to really start kicking off and doing some real content, instead
Yeah,
of, so many different made up, I mean, I
it's fun
see
though.
on
It's
the internet, so many just fake storylines out there. The Knicks received such and such and such in this mock trade. And I'm like, man, get out of here.
I
I mean,
mean,
it's fun.
that's what the off season's for, man. Because it's so dry. You know what I mean? You get to reach into your imagination bag. So
Yeah,
I appreciate it a little bit. But it does get repetitive. You know what I mean? Like and far fetched at times. But I think it's a fun time. But it's not like the season. And the
nothing like
season
the season
is just
finally
about
being here.
upon us.
Yeah, nothing like
Um,
the season finally being here.
I tell you what though, man, I had high hopes for this off season, this FIBA World Cup. You know, it was Knicks players and all over the place. You know what I mean?
Right.
From Fournier with his country. RJ finally getting the opportunity for Canada to show up as a powerhouse in this thing, which they haven't been in years. Brunson and Hart playing for Team USA. You had the select team with Grimes being featured on there. Jokubaitis, who we finally got to see some real run from him.
Mhm.
So it was like I was super excited coming into this FIBA World Cup, and I ain't gonna lie, it kind of ended up being a dud. You know what I mean? Team USA didn't medal. Uh, Canada they did, which was great for them as a country, great for RJ. But yeah, let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Um, I'll start with what was your biggest takeaway from the whole FIBA event, Knicks related?
Knicks related. I guess it would be RJ. I think for me that might be my biggest takeaway. Just, his his play with Canada, probably the third best player, right? Um, for the most part, he was consistent, I think. You know, I didn't see him do anything that I haven't seen him do before. So it's not that part, but just him being on another high level team
Mm-hmm.
and kind of having the same role that he has with the Knicks. I think, that to me, that says we were talking about it because you brought this up to me last night. Um, to me, that says RJ's no matter where he plays at, he's going to be the same guy. And this is what he's going to do. And so, can he be consistent? And if you can rely on that consistently, there's something to build on there. You know what I'm
One
saying? You
hundred
can rely
percent.
on. We know what RJ is going to do. And maybe he can grow and get better, but we know what RJ is going to do. We know his style of play. So, okay, we're going to plug this in right here. This is who he is and what he does. Now we can add this, that, and this and that. You know what I mean? And I think he kind of cemented at least some of it with FIBA.
Yeah, 100%. Congratulations to Team Canada getting the bronze, beating Team USA. I think it's only right we start with them and RJ. You know what I mean? They were the successful ones out the group, right? Out of the group of Knicks scattered throughout the world. Yeah, I agree. RJ, man, I feel like he played the exact same role he does on the Knicks in that team. That team Canada. You know what I mean? Third best player. Had the opportunity to come up big in moments, but not necessarily be the guy or shine overall. And I think that's exactly how his tenure with the Knicks has been. Like, never been the number one guy. Currently number three, I think, on his team, but he has those opportunities, those moments to hit a big shot, get a big stop, whatever it is.
Right.
And he did that in Canada. A lot of people was, talking about his inconsistency on Team Canada, but if you look at the numbers overall, it actually was an improvement. You know what I mean? Like, I think he was a little bit more consistent. I think the inconsistency may have been like a big 21-point game and then a 1 for 10 game. But if you look at it overall, like, he shot the ball a little bit better from the field. The three looks a lot better in this tournament than it's looked throughout his career. Maybe that's credited to the shorter 3-point line. But I mean, I think he's growing into himself and into his role.
I mean, I
Sixth
mean,
best scoring output
yeah.
in
I mean,
in FIBA.
right, right. I mean, he gave you just about 17 points a game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Now, mind you, this is 10 minutes per quarter, right? Shot 52% from the field. He shot 37% from three. Um, I'm sorry, he shot 45% from the field, 37% from three. He shot 52% from two,
Too.
right? I mean, those are good numbers. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people will say the inconsistent play, really? 23, 23, 24, 16. He had one game with four.
Hmm.
22, 17. Then he had a game with five.
So, two bad games. You know what I mean? And to me, it's nothing to really say bad about RJ, the FIBA. A lot of people like to say, run with narratives and say it don't count here, but it counts here. It's meaningful for this guy, but it's meaning. I think it's good basketball he played, and
Mhm.
I've been saying this the whole time as well. Hopefully, now we get mid-season RJ from game one. You know what I mean? Getting all these reps in, and you know, got some bragging rights. like you just mentioned. I'm sure Josh Hart and Brunson are gonna hear about that all
Mhm.
year long.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And kudos to him. I wouldn't stop. I I be laying it on him. You know what I
Word.
mean? Like that's big for their country and big for RJ. Another thing I feel like, these guys, they probably were looking at each other and trying to looking for this game to be a gold silver game as
Yeah,
opposed to a bronze game. And I
right.
think they may have, both of them, Canada and USA, overlooked their opponents prior to the championship. Looking forward to playing each other. They still got to play each other, but it wasn't for
Was
gold and
aware.
silver. You,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So that was my big take from RJ and Canada. Um, and another thing, I've been saying it for years, man. Shea is the man, yo. I'd add him to this roster in a heartbeat. Um, Shea is dope, man.
Shit. Nah, you're right. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even gonna lie. I had questions, you know, had questions about him, but looking at, the things that he's been able to do in this FIBA and, he's growing as a player, just, he's definitely already an all NBA player and he's proven why, you know. Um, yeah, no doubt. No doubt. OKC is gonna try to hold on to the kid, but
We
it may be difficult soon.
Yeah, yes. Like, we talked about Edwards, potentially being too big for Minnesota. Even though Shea, he seems to be settled there, I think he might be a little bit too big for OKC as well.
Mm.
But enough about non-Knicks players. Let's move on to. You want to go right to USA, or you want to talk about France first?
I mean, I didn't watch much of France, but we could talk about them a little bit.
I mean, I obviously I only watched to see how Fournier performed. I only looked to see. if he could maybe increase his trade value. Obviously, teams didn't get to see Fournier a lot throughout last year.
Right.
So this was like a shining moment for him. Uh, Obviously, the comments came out about the Knicks and you know him wanting to him being upset about not playing and wanting to be
Mhm.
moved and all that. I mean, he played like Fournier. You know what I mean? He played like FIBA Fournier, I'll say, or France Fournier. He was one of their main guys. A totally different role from his role on the Knicks, opposite of RJ. Um, do you think he increased any value? Obviously, I felt like them being eliminated was the worst thing that could have happened for Fournier and his trade value moving forward. So that was another disappointing, outcome
Mhm.
for me as far as a Knicks fan. Not
Right.
just the fact that they didn't even qualify. It just took another opportunity away from us to maybe move on from him. What was your thoughts of Fournier in FIBA?
Um, I mean, I personally, I don't think it really. I guess
Hurt?
I guess you can say it, maybe it increases his value because teams, like we were saying earlier on my show that we just did, uh, teams at least need to know that he can still play, right? So I guess seeing him out there lets them know that okay, he can still play. I don't think it like makes them say, "Oh wow, he's this much better," or "He's this much worse." I think they knew who he was and what he can do. Um, you know what I mean? So I don't know if it increases the trade value because teams know where the Knicks stand. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm.
where things are. So, they may view him as and say he could be a potential piece to our team, but it doesn't mean that they're going to offer the Knicks anything more because they know the situation.
I mean, when I say, all right, let me rephrase it. Not in, This is where I'm disappointed because I felt like if France played well and was one of those four teams in contention for one of the medals,
Mhm.
and Fournier was an integral part of it, maybe it doesn't increase his value, but it increased his interest in teams willing to say, "Oh, he could help us," like you just said, he could help us for this year. Um, with them not even qualifying, it was a missed opportunity in that sense.
Mhm.
And now it didn't hurt us, but it could have helped us had he advanced and played even better. You know
Right.
what I mean? So that's where the disappointment lies. It's like, oh, we just stuck in the same spot with that. You know what I mean? No, nothing great about it, nothing
Yeah. Nah, nah.
bad about it.
I feel what you're saying. Um, I mean, that being said, I think I still think Fournier's done with the Knicks. You know what I mean? I don't see, I just can't see. It's hard for me to see that the Knicks are gonna or Tom Thibodeau is gonna say, yeah, let's find some way to play this guy, or that he does anything outside of what the Knicks have already seen him do. So it's hard for me to see that. You know what I mean? They know what he is and what he can do. So I don't see him coming in and like really impressing the coaching staff or anything like that. So, I feel like, it's pretty much done. They just haven't they just got to figure out what they're gonna do coming into training camp. Like we were just talking about. Is he gonna be they're gonna send him home? What are they gonna do? And
Yeah.
how are they gonna deal with it? I think that's really the big thing with Evan
So
Fournier.
so I actually we started the show. I asked you, what was your what I say standout moment or like the biggest takeaway,
Mhm.
and for me, it was Rokubaitis, Jokubaitis. Um, finally getting the opportunity to like really see him play
Right.
and actually being coming out of that impressed by his play. You know what I mean? Like we heard the stories of yo, this kid is good. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be a couple years before he's over here, but to actually see him perform out there, um, be an integral part of his team,
Right.
get some awards as like most outstanding player or whatever the actual award was. I
Right.
mean, it 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 was very exciting for me personally because now usually when the Knicks got a guy and he's drafted and he's overseas or whatever, we own his rights. We don't never see this guy. You know what I mean? He don't he don't ever make it to the
Never
Knicks,
make
let
it.
alone
Never,
the
never make it.
league. So for me, the potential of whether it's him being included in as a trade asset, I think
Mhm.
that's a real possibility now. His rights being of value for a trade moving forward, or we talked about IQ and what's going to happen with him. If IQ is not on his team, not this year, but next year moving forward, that opens up a spot for Roku to come over here and you know get some shine. So to me, his play was great. Great to see him and finally get like a real feel of who we got and who he is.
So,
What
right.
what was your thoughts on his play
I
and
I didn't get to see
how
him
much?
play a whole lot.
No,
I heard about it, but I didn't get to see him play a lot. Um, I don't, I don't see him ever coming and playing for the Knicks though.
I
You know,
here's my thing. I think currently constructed, no. IQ would have to be gone for him to have the opportunity. I think to come play here.
right?
But like I mentioned earlier, like maybe if we did move Fournier and we gave up the draft rights to a young guy, especially we talking about the Spurs, I could see that be an enticing piece to add to what I mean, for Pop to be like, all right, yeah, what I mean, like I could groom this guy, I could play
Right.
this guy.
Right.
So I think at the very least, um, he opened some eyes throughout the league. You know what I mean? As a guy that, all right, we could get his draft rights. Maybe
Mhm.
we got the opportunity for him. He could come fill in a role here.
Yeah. And definitely, I think that could be it. At the very least, it gives the Knicks another trade chip. I mean, they already had a trade chip, but um, makes it more
It's like less of a throw in now. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like I could
you
see
know,
some teams actually having interest in him.
right, right. There you go, right there. Yeah, I can see that.
Who
I can see that. I would love for that to, you know, I would love for it to happen so the Knicks can have a guy that they can, you know, the more trade chips the Knicks got, the better. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
More trade chips, the better.
But yeah, he definitely surprised me at how well he played in his role, an
Yeah.
integral role. You know what I mean? Like I was thinking he was gonna be a guy came off the bench. You know what I mean? Look for be a spark plug. No,
Mhm.
he took over some games. You know what I mean? Like he was an integral part of that team. So and we had some former Knicks. Cools, cool.
Fools.
Oh, you know what I mean? Some old fan favorites,
Yeah.
balling out there too. You know what I mean? Like it was a big Knicks affair in FIBA. Ex
Yeah.
Knicks, future Knicks, potentially current Knicks. Um, and I guess we move right into Team USA, man. Uh, I was super excited about Brunson getting this opportunity. Hart getting this opportunity. It started off great for us as Knicks fans with, Captain America and Brunson being the leader of this Team USA and Hart getting the starts and playing over, guys that are obviously better overall talents than him, but him finding a niche in what he does to get them starts. And it started off real rosy for us Knicks fans. A lot of content, a lot of things to talk about.
Yeah, man.
And the Knicks, I mean the Knicks, the Team USA, they start losing, man. They start blowing.
Losing, man. They stumbled towards the end.
Brunson getting benched down the stretch of some games, or having some bad games. And uh I mean, to me, Hart, it started out as Brunson, but Hart kind of just, he was the big takeaway for me as a Knicks fan on the Team USA. I guess solidifying himself as a winner, right?
Mhm.
We talked about that last year, his impact to winning, but Kerr coming out and speaking on that kind of solidified who he is and what he is as a player. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
he ain't out there to score 30, but
right.
he's out there to do what it takes to win.
What it takes to win. Yeah.
But how disappointed were you in Team USA's losses and lack of medaling out, and Brunson's ascension, and then kind of like, fall, if you will, in a sense. You know what I mean? I'm not here to bash him, but I mean, it's disappointing for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely disappointing, you know what I mean? And I guess the thing is this, on some teams, it takes more than just a couple games for everything to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? So when, a team might start off and it seems like boom, it's hot, it's going well, is you're doing, everything is going right. It doesn't mean it's necessarily going to stay there, because other teams are going to begin to scout you. They're going to figure out what it is that you do. They're going to find your weaknesses. They're going to know what your strengths are. And now they start the game plan against you, right? And then it takes time to figure out, okay, what do we do against these game plans? You know what I'm saying? And if time, let's say this was a 50 game season,
Hmm.
you probably see something very different from Team USA, but it's not that long.
That's
Now
a
you
fact.
have these other teams who've been together for a while, right? And so they're able to adjust more, a little bit quicker, right? They're able to strategize a little bit better because they know the makeup of the players that's on that basketball team. Where with Team USA, this is a new team. You know what I'm saying? That's just coming together, a few weeks ago. So, it takes that time for a real basketball team to grow. And it takes time for coaches to understand what a player does, how a player reacts. Who do I put in this situation, that situation? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I see happened. You know what I'm saying? Like you go through those type of things as a team. In the end, if you have a longer season, the rut that the Team USA hit would have made them stronger because you would have learned about yourself. In a situation like this, you don't have time for it. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed. I mean,
And
it's
then,
just, I felt like, all right, let me ask you this. What do you say, or are you concerned, any concern with the fact that, you know, not just Brunson, but we only going to focus on Brunson at this point. He was being targeted defensively, and obviously that's, we're going to see probably more of that coming into the season,
mhm,
with guys trying to, whether it's get him in foul trouble, get him off the court, or just play to that disadvantage of his lack of size.
um, I think we were going to see that anyway. So I don't think like this is going to be a new revelation. I don't think this is a new revelation. I think we're going to see it anyway. And I think they tried to do it last year, right? Teams might try to do it more this year, but I think this is the whole thing about having a team. The Knicks know that teams are going to try to target them. You know what I'm saying? And so they probably have a plan for it already. That's why when a lot of people were asking, okay, how much do you take from this, as far as what the Knicks are going to do as a team, or how um, Jalen Brunson or these guys are going to come into, is it going to affect the regular season? I didn't want to hold too much stock into it because it's a different team, different coaches. You know what I'm saying?
Different
And
role as well.
different role.
Um,
You know what I mean?
when Brunson will have the opportunity. Sorry to cut you. Brunson will have the opportunity to go back at anybody going at him. Um, More so on the Knicks team than this Team USA team. So
Right.
there is that point as well. My bad. Continue.
Yeah. No. So I think I don't think it's as I'm not as concerned. I'll say that because I think the Knicks probably already know and kind of understand what it is that they need to do. I don't think it's new to them. You know,
Um,
I don't think it's new to them. I also want to say this though, and I'm not placing any blame, but when the team really started to crumble, is when
when
Brandon
is that?
Ingram started complaining,
Mm.
right? When Brandon Ingram started complaining about his role, that's when you started things kind of, see things kind of go awry. I don't know if there's anything going on internally. Not blaming him, just saying that's when I felt like things started to go awry a little bit.
What is there any like big positive takeaway that we could come away with from this FIBA? But before you answer that, I asked this because, like I said, coming into it when it first started, it was so much good things that I thought, especially if they win the goal. You know what I mean? There's so much we could kind of piggyback off of and just say, all right, Brunson led the team, da da da. You know what I mean? Even if we lost and Brunson played better, you know what I mean? I felt like there would have been more stuff that we could pull from this. Is there any positives that we could pull from this FIBA Cup, or is it gonna just be like more fuel for the fire for hopefully for these guys coming into the season?
I think, I mean, for the Knicks, any positives for the
Yeah,
Knicks?
from Brunson, Hart, you know what I mean? I think RJ is obvious, like he could use this, like we talked about the bragging rights, you know what I mean? Like just the confidence of himself and
Right.
his role on that team moving to the Knicks. But yeah, um for
I
the
think,
Knicks in particular, not Team
yeah,
USA.
I think maybe the biggest thing would be that they're coming in shape. That they've been playing. They've been playing at a high level all summer long. Uh, that's really all I think I take from it. Maybe Tom Thibodeau figured out, looked and seen some things that he said, hey, I'd like to, use Brunson. I seen Curry use Brunson this way or that way, or Hart this way or that way, or seen something that Team Canada did with RJ and decided, oh, I like that. I want to implement some of that. Maybe there's some of those type of things. Um, but I don't think there's a whole lot that I'm taking and saying, oh yeah, Brunson was giving them 50 a game, so he's about to come in and be this and that, or oh man, Brunson stunk it up. You know what I mean? So he's gonna come in and play bad for the Knicks. I don't think there's much that I'm taking away from it, besides the fact that I think they should be in pretty good shape coming into training camp.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably across the board for our three guys, RJ included. I keep saying if we could get mid-season RJ in the beginning, we've never really seen that. He always starts off slow, so maybe he just gets off to a good start. That would be great. Definitely, Hart and Brunson just getting more playing time together and camaraderie or chemistry, even though that wasn't an issue, but just to add to it helps. And coming into this season, preseason, in shape, I agree 100%. Uh, my last little topic I want to cover, and this is another hypothetical, but what current Knick player, if any, do you think could have helped this team USA the most? Um,
Hmm.
if you want to go first, or I
Yeah,
could go first.
yeah, go
It-
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Um,
I think I have somebody in mind, but
so for me, it's my guy, money making Mitch.
okay, that's what I was going.
um, that's who you was going with too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the team just it lacked size.
Mhm.
Number one, it lacked um a defensive presence, and I mean they had JJJ. He started well, but I think that depth at the center position, rebounding, offensive rebounding would have helped tremendously on this team. But you look at the teams they lost against. Some was running traditional old school two bigs. You know what I mean? All these guys had real centers.
Mhm.
I guess my only concern with Mitch would have been him not stretching the floor, but I think the lob threat it would have brought a whole different dynamic to this team USA. It could have been easy for me to say Randall. Obviously, I think he would have helped too, because they didn't have a bruiser or anybody that kind of um accepted contact or looked for contact, and I think FIBA is a little bit more physical than the NBA. But yeah, I'm going with Mitch. I don't know if you want to double down and add some things on Mitch, or pick another guy. But
No,
I mean,
yeah, I doubled down on that, man. Oh, your boy Andy wants to jump in.
jump on in, Andy.
Andy wants to jump in. I can. I'll send him the link. I'll put it in the. What you call it? Um, I think like Kerr, and maybe it was by design. You know what I'm saying? Wanted to go small, but you seen like Kerr would double down and go small, right? I think the issue with Mitch is kind of his lack of offense for a guy like Steve Kerr. You know what I mean? I think that's the issue with Mitch. But I definitely think he could have helped. Just provide. Because with Mitch, if where he helps a team that goes small is the fact that he's very mobile for a center. He's got some speed. He can get up and down the floor. Obviously, he can get up high. It's not like he's slow and lumbering.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So he could have helped out in some areas, I think. Without a doubt. I think he could have helped out in some areas. Let me see. Is there anyone else from the Knicks team that could have helped? Um,
You gotta give Randall some love, bro.
Randall couldn't
I
play.
mean, if he could have played, if he
You know what
could have
I'm saying?
played,
Randall couldn't play. If he could have played, of course he could have helped. Of course. You know what I'm saying? Without a doubt. So I was trying to keep it with guys that would have been eligible to play,
available.
that were
Uh,
available, right? That were available.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if I don't think Grimes is necessarily ready. You know what I mean? He could have definitely helped defensively. You know what I mean? But I think that's a far stretch. I'll say quickly. I say quickly.
Think so?
I mean, yeah. I mean, he wouldn't have been a liability on defense.
Right.
I don't think, which I think was some of the, other than size and rebounding, I think the only other knock was, guys being targeted, not just Brunson, but Reeves. Who else? It's another guy that, oh, Halliburton. All were targeted at
Okay.
times. So I think quickly defensively would have helped by alone, just defensively, and then obviously he's a capable scorer. And I could only imagine like his energy, his like the excitement and the thrill that a quickly would have brought to the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not, and maybe he's not ready, but obviously this wasn't the A1 talent of Team USA. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think quickly could have gave him something.
yeah. Trav B. Ryan said Tibbs would have helped.
Mm, that's big.
I guess the thing is, would his how how much would his style mix with Steve Kerr? You know what I mean? Steve Kerr is a little bit more. He's not Mike D'Antoni, where he doesn't care about defense, but he's a little more offense orientated. Than Tibbs. Um, would their styles of mixed, or would Tibbs have just played his role? I think Tibbs probably would have just played his role as an assistant, similar
Mm.
to Eric Spoelstra.
And that's it's funny you say that because that's where I was going. I think maybe as a head coach, you could say Tibbs would have helped. As an assistant, I don't know what would have changed because my question to you was going to be if Spo was the head coach as opposed to the assistant,
Hmm.
do you think that changes anything? Because similar to Tibbs, Spo, I feel like he gets the best out of what he had. You know what I mean? Like it's not maybe I mean more so than Tibbs, you can argue, but you know what I mean? Like he's gonna get the best out of he's gonna pull the best out of anybody that's on the court, whether it's the A1 guy or the C guy, you know what I mean? But you're gonna get a effort, you know what I mean, a performance
Right.
from even the C guys. So I don't know if he would have helped as an assistant, but I think maybe as the head coach, he would have, you know what I mean, emphasized defense number one,
Hmm.
which would have changed things a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll never find out. I know next year. I think LeBron said he's going to commit to Team USA. Some other guys said that they were going to commit as well. So
Yeah, I mean that's usually how it happens.
right.
Uh we underperform in
Hmm.
FIBA, you
Hmm.
know what I mean? And then when the Olympics roll around, the big dogs, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, they want to
Right.
change the narrative.
Right. Exactly. You know what I mean?
But I like this. I like this because I like the young guys, the up and comers, I like these guys getting their opportunity to represent the country in FIBA and see if they could earn their way up into that Olympic role. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? I think they should not change the format. The big guys come out at the big game, and you know what I mean. You give these guys this opportunity. They're only going to get hungrier and hungrier as time goes on. You know what I mean? Like because now it's out there. I mean, what we won, we medaled in 3 of the last 8 FIBAs, and then we've medaled in all 8 of the last 8 Olympics. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it's gonna they're gonna want to change that narrative
Yeah.
and be more dominant in the off
I,
years.
but see, I just feel like I kind of feel like it's part of the problem though,
Mm,
right? Because when you look at these other teams,
they
they're
stay together.
yeah, they're stable. Like they are actual teams. So it's not like, okay, well, this year, you know, uh, l- LeBron and Giannis and well, Giannis wouldn't play, but LeBron, Anthony Davis, whoever,
KD, yeah.
KD, like this year these guys are playing, but this year they're not playing. You know what I'm saying? So you never build that camaraderie. And so every time you step out there, you gotta training camp begins, you gotta start from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Well, these teams, you don't have to. You know what I'm saying? Like they've been coming up, not only are they like a lot of these players been targeted to play since they were
Teens,
teenagers,
yeah.
right? So they've been targeted to play. And then when they get on the team, like they are there on that team. For every team, there's going to be some turnover, right? But they're more stable And with the USA, we're not. You know what I mean? Because if you really was building something, LeBron and those guys, like they would have played now so that they're building that chemistry for the
But
Olympics.
how much do you think even that? I mean, granted, it's a slight difference, but I don't think it's that much of a difference for the simple fact that these guys are playing overseas. They're playing, that's their team year round.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So even if LeBron and KD's and all these guys play now, yeah, we'll have a better team, better shot. But I think that's just because they're better players,
They're better players.
not
Right.
necessarily because they had that more time together and things. You know what I mean? Like things of that nature. Because
Right.
it's really not that much time either way. You know what I mean? It's
But
still
but I think like even, because even though the Olympics is, every 4 years or whatever, like you have the FIBA and, this, other things that they could participate in. You know what I'm saying? I just think I don't know. I don't think that because even if you're not, even if like if you have the same person who's coaching, right? You got the same coaching staff for the most part, the same players, that's coming out to play. Even though you might only be playing together every 2 years, you're still building something. Right. And you could do what, maybe every summer um after the season, maybe they get together for 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Just to be together, practice a little bit together. They don't even got to be crazy practices. Just practice a little bit together, so you scrimmage a little bit, so that you are building, some of that chemistry throughout the time that you're not playing. You know, um, but I feel like every year when it's these new players and this and that, we're not really. I don't feel like we're building, really building a program that way.
I mean, I agree with you 100%. I mean, there's an argument that can be made that we should scrap the whole NBA players and build a real program.
Right,
You know what I mean? And I think we may not win or qualify or something for a few years,
right,
but it'll be something that they could build from the ground up
right.
and,
I,
and get to a
yeah.
level.
I think that the hard part there would be, um, teams are gonna have, like, other teams, they're gonna have NBA players. If the US scraps NBA players, other teams are still gonna have NBA players,
That's true. I mean,
you know?
that's definitely true. But I mean, you could have. I mean, it's like I said, what I'm talking about they'll probably never do because it'll be a process, you know what I
Yeah, yeah,
mean?
it'll be a process. And it
And
goes
it
for a
wouldn't
couple
be
years of
it
room.
wouldn't be pretty in the beginning.
Right,
But I think there's ways, you can entice some of these guys that go to play overseas as opposed to playing overseas, come, you know what I mean, stay in the United States or build a US team that actually competes in these leagues overseas.
mhm,
You know what I mean? Like,
right,
so it's US
right,
sponsored. So now you're getting the games all year long, you're getting all the practice, you know what I mean?
yeah,
But it would be a whole new process. But yeah, man, this disappointing Team USA, man. They didn't medal out at all. They lost to Canada. Shout out to them for the bronze. I think every we see this every couple years.
yeah,
Disappointing USA outcome, and then the big dogs come out for the Olympics.
yeah.
So I don't know. This is not really much else I want to touch on. Anything you want to add before we get out of here?
I don't think so. Andy, I thought Andy was gonna jump in.
Nah, he backed out. I seen he said he ain't want to mess up the chemistry.
Oh man, get out of here. He ain't want to talk about Evan Fournier.
Oh man, but shout out to the chat as always, man. Appreciate you guys jumping in with me. Sim, appreciate you as well.
No doubt.
I think the Queen will be on tonight. Look out for that. Um Queen's Court is coming back soon.
Coming back October
The second,
2nd.
I think.
Yeah, October
You know,
2nd.
right before the kickoff, the
Yeah.
season kickoff. w- October 7th. We got November 1st, the game against the Cavs.
Yeah, man. Knicks versus Cavs. Like, it's the cheapest tickets you're going to get. You know what I'm saying? We're in section 223 through 225. So 223, 224, 225. They're all mid court. You know what I'm saying? It's $155 per ticket. You can go to Ticketmaster. You can go to uh, wherever you want to go to. You're not gonna get them, Ticketmaster, SeatGeek. You're not gonna find them. They're gonna be $50 to $75 more. All right. So if you want those tickets, you got to get them tickets now, ladies and gentlemen. You got to get them now. Get them now. $155 per ticket. East Blues Drew said, when y'all gonna make a Nothing But Giants channel? I mean, my man Jarrell,
Jarrell, that's right. Go check them out.
Die Hard Giants channel. You need to go check out Jarrell on Die Hard Giants. You know,
That's, that's part of the team there.
what I'm saying? Go check him out. Go check him out. When I first started doing Nothing But Knicks, I was gonna do Nothing But Giants. You know what I'm saying? But now that Jarrell's doing, the what you call it, I was like, I guess I ain't gonna do Nothing But Giants because I don't want to compete with, compete with Jarrell. You know what I'm saying? So go on over there and check out Jarrell on Die Hard Giants.
That's right. And yeah, man. Appreciate you guys, man. Hit that like button on the way out. Sim, we got a busy schedule. You know what I mean? We breaking down the training camp and what to look out for. We got that going all the next 3 weeks, man. So
Yeah, man. Next 3 weeks, we got it. We got it going. We back in business. We back in town. You know what I'm saying? We back in business.
that's right. But yeah, that's it, man. We out of here. Appreciate y'all for joining me. Look out for all the MBK stuff coming, man. We got some things coming. So
Yeah, no doubt.
appreciate y'all.
Peace.